News reports say that a federal judge has granted permission to what they call illegal immigrants, I would call them uninvited guests, to carry firearms. So this is what some people would call a woke judge because she was appointed, from what I heard, by Barack Obama. And she is siding with the Second Amendment, which is just weird. That never happens. Well, obviously it does happen because it just did happen. So the story is that there was this guy. He is in the country illegally, we assume south of the border. And he was caught carrying a firearm, which there is a federal law that says you can't do that if you're in the country illegally. And so he was arrested and taken before the U.S. District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman. And she said, nah, this federal law, it violates the Second Amendment and tradition. So she said because, effectively, and I'm just kind of giving you my version of this, but she said effectively that because it doesn't align with American tradition, that illegal, I got to be careful what I say here, uninvited guests have traditionally been able to carry firearms, therefore it's okay. Because there doesn't seem to be a lot of precedent in firearms being taken away from these people. This is the only time I can think of, that I know of, when a woke judge sided with the Second Amendment. But this is what I find really disturbing about this. Well, first of all, just this phrase that I wanted to read here, lifetime disarmament. This is the defense argument. Lifetime disarmament of an individual based on alienage or nationality alone does not have roots in the history and tradition of the United States. That was their argument. That is what flipped the judge, or prompted the judge to flip the decision that the law is not constitutional. But what I wanted you to see was this. This is according to the judge, her opinion, she wrote, that the court notes, however, that, and this is the name of the guy, has never been convicted of a felony, never been convicted of a violent crime or crime involving the use of a weapon. Even in present case, this guy, Carbajal-Flores, I think is how you would pronounce that, contends that, listen, this is important, that he received and used the handgun solely for protection, self-protection, and protection of property. Ready? During the documented civil unrest of the spring of 2020. I've got something to say about that, but before I do, it doesn't say he had the gun to defend himself against the rioters, but to protect himself during the unrest. So maybe he was one of the rioters. Maybe he wasn't a rioter, but he was sympathetic to the rioters. He wanted to defend himself and his property against who? Against whom? I don't know which one it is. But he wanted to protect himself against somebody during the time of unrest, but the somebodies could have been those who were opposed to the rioters. In other words, he could have been one of these left-wing moonbats himself, and we don't know. I'm just speculating that that is a possibility, not only in this case, but in future cases. All right, what about this? During a time of documented civil unrest in the spring of 2020, have you ever noticed that whenever a Republican is the president of the United States, there is civil unrest? Why is that? Because there are several predictors. I think there are 3 or 4 predictors that always fall into place that determine whether or not a sitting president will be reelected. And one of those determinants is civil unrest, or as we used to call it back in the 60s, rioting. So this is a little bit off topic, but I wonder if maybe the Black Lives Matter movement and the rioting was provoked intentionally and willfully for unseating the sitting president. the guy in the Oval Office, who I can't say Donald Trump on YouTube because that draws attention and you might get dinged, and I don't want to be dinged, so I'm not going to say it. Okay, I already said it, but you get the point. On the screen, there's a rectangle in the upper left-hand corner. Keep watching by clicking that, or if you want to subscribe, there's a circle in the lower right-hand corner. Just click on that and be part of our family. We'll talk to y'all later.